Hello Culers, it's Pablo here and welcome back to Barca Universal. Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Following our Clásico defeat, it does feel like the mood is a little bit low, but we still have plenty to fight for this season, including that Copa del Rey final on the Saturday. But before then, guys, I thought I'd make a video to fill the week, and quite a requested video too, actually. It's going to be discussing who is Ramon Planes. Similar to the Alemany video I made, you guys seem to really enjoy that, enjoy the information. I thought I'd make a similar one today. It has been requested a few times by you guys in the comments, so without any further ado, let's get into who is Ramon Planes so that you guys can leave today's video knowing everything you need to know about this man, part of the Barcelona Sporting Directive team. Now, before we really delve into the past of Ramon Planes, let's get the basics out and the most important information out to you guys that you will need to know for this video. Planes actually joined Barcelona in the summer of 2018, where he worked as a deputy to Eric Abidal, who was the then technical secretary of Barcelona. In the summer of 2020, Abidal left the club, and that meant that Planes was promoted to the head of the technical secretary team. So in other words, the sporting director of Barcelona. Not quite, because we didn't really have one at the time, but that was essentially the role that Planes had, you know, building the team, signing, sales, scouting, that sort of thing. Since Planes was promoted, he's worked very, very closely with Ronald Koeman. He's been scouting a lot of players. They've been making a lot of meetings together, deciding things. But I think we did all expect that with the arrival of Laporta to the presidency of Barcelona, that people like Planes working with inside the club would be fired and they would be told to move on with other new names coming in. But in the sporting team, Alemany's joined, Jordi Cruyff looks set to join, but it looks like Laporta and Alemany have agreed that, you know what, Planes can stay, we've appreciated his work, and he will now be remaining at Barcelona, part of the sporting team. So I thought, let's make a video on him. Let's let you guys know what you need to know about this man who, interestingly, is going to stay under Laporta's board. So let's now take a look at the past of Ramon Planes. Let's see the sort of clubs he's worked at, the sort of jobs he's done. He's usually worked as a sporting director, or the director of football, or the technical secretary, the technical assistant, whichever way you want to look at it. He's had a few different roles there, but usually has essentially been the head of the sporting department at every team he's been at. And his career in this department started all the way back in 1999, where he worked at Catalan club L'Hospitalet for a few years. He then actually moved on to Racing Santander, where he was at for a season or so, before then moving on to Alaves in all the same role in these clubs. It was in 2006 when Planes then returned back to Lleida. That is actually the place of his birth, so his hometown, and he actually helped them get promoted back to the first division of Spanish football during his short stint at the club. And then perhaps Planes' most interesting part of his career was at Espanyol, where he was at from 2007 to 2012, first as the technical assistant and then as a sporting director in 2009. And interestingly, guys, when Planes was the sporting director of Espanyol, the coach of Espanyol, the head coach, was Mauricio Pochettino. Now, you guys probably remember Abidal in an interview not long ago actually said, "We wanted Pochettino at Barcelona." Abidal and Planes worked together at Barcelona, so clearly Planes and Pochettino have a good relationship with each other, and I find that really interesting. And as we see here, guys, when Pochettino goes to manage Tottenham in 2014, where he went for several years, as we know, guys, and certainly built his reputation there, Planes was a sporting director of Tottenham for the 2014 to 15 season, and he actually signed players like DELE, ALLI, Eric Dier on a very, very cheap price, and as we've seen, they're still at the club today, and certainly they have had successful Spurs careers, and they were pretty good pickups. After his season at Spurs, he spent the 2015 to 16 season at Elche, the 2016 to 17 season at Rayo Vallecano, the 2017 to 18 season at Getafe, before then finally ending up at Barcelona in the summer of 2018 as the deputy to Abidal. He then got promoted. Now, of course, he will be demoted in a way under Laporta, but he will still have a role in that sporting directive team. So as you guys can see, Planes has had quite a long and windy career in the sporting directive side of football. But as you'll also be able to notice, he hasn't really ever stayed at a club for that long, and this stint here he's having at Barcelona will be one of the longest of his careers, to be fair. So it does seem that Planes is quite happy. I think we've seen since Koeman arrived, they've also had quite a close relationship, speaking with each other about the team, about the B team, about signings and whatnot. And as I mentioned, it does now look that Planes is here to stay. But let's now take a look at his work actually at Barcelona, because as you guys have seen, he is going to be remaining. So clearly, he's built himself a reputation. Clearly, he's appreciated by the new board, and quite a good new board too, under Joan Laporta. So what are the factors that have given him that success? I think firstly, guys, we've got to look at the signings he's made. And there are two key ones really for me that are going to be a big reason as to why Planes is remaining. First off, guys, the signing of Ronald Araujo was a very, very good pickup. Clearly, we've seen Araujo has gone on to be a very good young centre-back. Clearly has all the capabilities, in my opinion, to be a top one in Europe. And it was actually Planes who ended up signing Araujo for the B team from Boston River over there in Uruguay. So quite an obscure signing, but it does look like that was a really, really shrewd piece of business from Ramon Planes. And of course, guys, a signing that I think gives Planes the most weight in this sort of situation is the addition of Pedri. We all know that Pedri has gone on to be a revelation this season for Barcelona. Certainly looks like one of the gems in world football, and well, from Las Palmas, that was an astonishing pickup, you've got to say, from Ramon Planes. So fair enough for him there, going and scouting Pedri. And him on top of Araujo, those are two excellent pickups from Planes. And as I say, in my opinion, if you look at his time at Barca, it's those two really for me that have given him the weight, they have given him that reputation, and clearly Laporta and Alemany have looked at that and they've said, you know what, this guy can stay. But I do want to show another side to this story, because yes, while Planes clearly has made some smart moves, you know, to be fair to him, the signing of Pedri, the signing of Araujo from quite obscure places is really good work. Very cheap deals too. But I think, as I said, we do need to take a look into some other aspects of Planes and maybe say, you know what, is that a bit of an issue? I think, first of all, guys, the one thing I'd say is Planes was, of course, hired by the old board, by Bartomeu, by Bartomeu's board of directors. And is that good news? You know, is that in itself saying this guy has a poor philosophy for Barcelona, the different sort of mentality that we actually want in the club, he doesn't see the things that we see, and that actually he could be making the wrong signings and the wrong decisions behind the scene? I think another example of that is some of the signings that this guy has tried to look at. And when you hear names come out in the media, guys, I do feel they are a little bit worrying in terms of the names that Planes looks to pick up. I've heard names such as Alexander Isak up front, Davinson Sanchez in defence. Of course, you look at some of the other signings we've made in the past seasons, and you know what, maybe Planes isn't the perfect man to be a part of a Barcelona sporting directive team, because maybe he doesn't see football the way that it should be seen at Barcelona. And I think another example of this was actually a leaked report that got leaked from the sporting directive team, and it was actually a report stating what we need at centre-back. And in that report, it stated that Oscar Mingueza and Simon Umtiti, to be fair, but Mingueza, they stated, wasn't ready for the first team. We've seen now that's absolute nonsense. Koeman clearly trusts him, and he looks like he's got a great future at Barcelona. But it's stuff like that, guys. For me, that's a little bit worrying, and I mentioned it there in terms of the players that Planes has looked at in the past and players that he perhaps wants to get rid of. And just maybe, guys, just maybe Planes isn't this genius and wonderful man that we do want in the Barcelona team. So that's where I think I will wrap this one up. It is important to note that Planes will be working with Mateu Alemany and of course Jordi Cruyff should he arrive in the sporting directive team. So that does mean that he won't be on his own, as to speak. So he won't be there saying, I want to go and sign that guy, let's bring him in. Hopefully that means that we will be swayed away from certain names, you know, Pochettino as coach, Isak as striker, some of the names that he's been linked with, you know, perhaps isn't the best news. And I do hope, guys, that in the future, the sporting directive team, it gets it right in the market. We plan the squad well, we make big decisions, the correct decisions, and the team is ready to progress with a good emphasis on La Masia. But of course, let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. It is important to note that he did bring Pedri to the club, he did bring Araujo to the club. Of course, he's got a rich history in Spanish football, to be fair, and he has been at a lot of clubs as sporting director, so that is really interesting. But as I said there, he came under Bartomeu, he worked under Abidal, and just perhaps as a Barcelona sporting director or someone who's part of the Barcelona sporting team, it isn't the best news to have someone like Planes at the club. But you know what? He stayed, Laporta trusts him, Alemany trusts him, and he has made some good pickups in the past. So let's see what happens. That's where we'll leave this one now, though. As I said, drop a like, leave your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll be seeing you guys on Friday for the preview for the Copa del Rey final, a big game in our season. I'll see you guys then, and goodbye.